All right, we are live. So, uh, Friday, February 18th, 2022. The Freedom Convoy in Ottawa has just experienced a mass arrest situation. And apparently they were using horses, the police, that is. The police were using horses to run into the crowd to try and disperse them so it'd be easier to pick out individuals and arrest them. And there's a video of it happening where some lady got trampled over and a few other people. And there's reports now that one of those people who got trampled may have died. I do not know if that's 100% confirmed. It's not confirmed yet, as far as I understand. But if it's true, then rest in peace to whoever that was. And it's a real tragedy. And it's something that should have never had to take place. None of these, protests should have ever happened, but the reasons as to why those protests have happened should have never happened either. Like there never should have been any economic lockdowns, anything of the sort. These thousands and thousands, millions of people around the world actually that have suffered because of these lockdowns have lost their jobs, have lost their lives, their savings, their future, suicides through the roof, depression, isolation, everything, all of it not needed at all for a virus that has a 99% survival rate. But we're here now. And the government, the Canadian government, is desperate as hell. The governments don't normally act like this until it's either too late for them to do anything else, or they're just going about their totalitarianism. But there is a silver lining, and the silver lining to this situation is that when you have massive, peaceful civil disobedience like we've seen in Ottawa over the last 3 weeks, and you have a government that's literally tried everything. They've thrown the corporate media that they use to smear people, they've thrown every single epithet they could at these protesters, calling them racists, Islamophobes, anything and everything, and nothing is stuck. And they've tried to confiscate the fuel for the trucks, the diesel. That didn't work out. They've pretty much done everything in the book. And so now, the third weekend, they're expecting lots of people to go there. But finally, they're like, we can't let this go any longer. So they're getting desperate, and they're using physical violence, which is what the state does when people disagree with what the state does. They don't negotiate. They don't negotiate because they think everybody else who disagrees with them is a terrorist. And that's not just Canada, by the way. The U.S. is also the U.S. also changes the definition of what a domestic terrorist is on a daily basis. But they're getting desperate. And so when the entire world sees this person that got trampled over, hopefully they're still alive. I don't know if they are or not. If they're not, rest in peace. What the world's going to be what the world's going to see is somebody who's acting peacefully, not threatening anybody, protesting the violation of their rights that has been going on for the last 2 years, and getting trampled by an order follower on a horse. There's practically no better scenario to point out how evil government is and the lengths to which government will go to command and demand obedience from its subjects than something like this. A situation where somebody who isn't threatening gets trampled by a horse. So ultimately, there's a white pill side to this whole thing. Of course, again, it's really unfortunate that somebody got assaulted and potentially murdered by these scumbag order following pieces of garbage. But it just shows them for what they are. And the world has been watching for the last 2 weeks what has been unfolding in Ottawa. The world's been learning. Each individual who's felt extreme loneliness up until now has seen the news, has seen what's been going on, has seen the incredible unity that these people are putting off. The fact that it's literally people from all walks of life, all professions, all religions, all of it, just getting together and saying, getting together in one cause and saying, this is messed up. We're not having this anymore. And peacefully disobeying the government. And it's one of the best white pills that anybody could ever hope for. And so I guess what I'll leave this video on is that no matter how bad it gets, how totalitarian things get, there's ample opportunity for the forces, for the powers that shouldn't be, to overstep and overplay their hand, to mess up in a bad way where millions of people, especially now in the digital age where everybody has a camera in their phone and in their pocket, to record it and show the world the messed up stuff that the government does. And all that does is just moves people more and more towards the correct conclusion, even though some people might not get to that conclusion immediately. It's still going in the correct direction. All of these people who have had a trust in the police and trust in the military are now starting to see, at least for the police, are starting to see that there are a lot more people than they thought who are willing to enact these tyrannical laws against them for a paycheck. Whereas before, they used to think that most of them are going to say no. Most of them are not going to say no. A lot of them will say no, but most of them are not going to say no. If you give somebody enough money and enough enough of a threat to their career or sometimes their physical well-being, but usually it doesn't even need to get to that. It's usually just, hey, you're going to get fired, or hey, here's some extra money for you to go do this and go over there and trample over somebody with a horse. Most people will do it in this profession. Unfortunately, we're not in the situation where the majority of people realize that it's incumbent upon them to disobey immoral orders. And I will say, and respect those police officers that have, in this entire debacle, said, no, I'm not going to enforce these laws, and they've quit. Kudos to those people. Respect. They deserve their respect. But most of them haven't done that. Most of the police in Canada that have been doing this, that have been enforcing the laws and enforcing the dictates of Mein Führer Trudeau, are continuing to do it. But at the very least, people are starting to get it. A lot of people are starting to get it. A lot of people are realizing authority for what it is. Authority vested in man, which is a nonsensical, non-existent idea that never existed and never will exist. So that's a white pill. And we need more of those. But it's good that at least we have this one now. And again, rest in peace to whoever was there who potentially died, if they did die. But if not, hopefully they'll recover soon. And if they do recover and they go on to a podcast or a show somewhere, which they inevitably will if they got trampled by a horse, I'm sure. If not, they definitely need to. But if they do, they're going to become a symbol of the resistance of this garbage that's going on in the world and in Canada and everywhere else.